Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 16, Do More of What You Love. And I am here with somebody that I love, my very special guest, Coach Carol, a.k.a. Carol Williams on the dance floor, a.k.a. Madonna. Carol, mine, we've been to a couple conferences together, and I'm super excited to have her on the show. And with that, take it away, Carol.
Wow. With that, yeah, dancing. God, that's a big thing for me. I love dancing and it's what I love, right? So I like our theme today. It's do more of what you love. So, recently I went through a rebranding exercise. I've been in business since '09. It's 20 right now. So 11 years, that's a long time. And the reason that I said that, like actually my graphic designer is the one who said that. It's like, we went through this whole thing about like, what do you do? What's your thing? And what's your image and all this stuff. And she finally came up with this really amazing image of this woman, kind of like goddessy sort of woman. One person said dancing in the mountains with the water. And I'm like, I think that does it.
That's so you. It
That
really
is so me. So, but it's not about me, right? It's about the people that I serve. So when I think about life, I think it should be fun. I think it should be, meaningful, actually. So, for whatever that means to you. So, I feel like if I am my brand, if I am what people want, then that's cool. And what I would say is that I do what I love work-wise. And I also do what I love in my life. And that's why I've chosen to sit outdoors, because I love the outdoors. And so that is do what you love to me. It's having this life that's like here, and then fitting in your work, like in your purpose, and the thing you do for money and to light other people's life, like to fit it in. So that really is like a definition of do what you love, in my opinion.
So then explain how does someone do that? Now, I have a pretty good 50-50, but a little bit more. We have about a 6% gap where we have just a little bit more women that watch this show. But regardless, a lot of people are out there. They're working full-time jobs.
Yeah.
They're raising kids. So tell us just how the hell do people fit that work inside their love or the love inside their work? How do they do that? How do they prioritize themselves?
Yeah, I like your question. Most of the people I work with are entrepreneurs. However, I do work with some corporate people, and I did have this one lady who I want to tell you that story because maybe this is something that people can relate to. So it was actually referral. Most of my work is referral. And so it's a woman who is married, and she's got like the big house, and she's got the kids, and her life looks perfect, and she's German, so everything has to be just how it's supposed to be. And so so I'm in the Northeast, and and I'm in New Hampshire, so it's a pretty small place. She's working remotely for a New York City firm as a bond analyst. So this is no small cute little job, right? It's a pretty intense job, and market comes in waves, and she's kind of hanging on the coattails of all of this, and she's kick-ass in her job. Like she is the one, right? And she's in the kind of male energy of all of it, and so on. And she came to me for time management. Like she just thought, if there's a way to like manage my time and manage my stuff and manage my kids and manage my, like, because in Germans, that's what they like. They like to do the thing. And I've known this woman for years. I've actually known her probably for about 15 years, since our kids were small. So there you go. But at any rate, when I talked to her about her goal, like what did she really want? When she really thought about it, she wanted inner peace. That's a pretty darn big goal. But the devil is how to get to that inner peace. Like all the things that the big goal is inner peace. What does that mean? Like, well, then you got to start defining it, right? What does inner peace mean? So inner peace for her meant that, she could exercise every day. It meant that she wasn't screaming at her kid. It meant that, you know, her husband didn't have to carry most of the burden, which he works full time too, but somehow he was carrying all the burden because she was like married to her job and she was super stressed and they were on the brink of divorce. So what it meant for her personally was doing a deep dive into, hey, is this job really what you want and need? And if not, let's take a look at that. She hired me for 3 months. The first month, within the first month, no kidding, she had negotiated an amazing severance package. She was able to spend all summer with her kids, which was a blessing because there's no summer camp, right? And before she had like a nanny, and now she couldn't have a nanny anymore because of COVID and all that stuff. So she let so that job. Not only did she leave it, but she got paid handsomely. Then we began to uncover, like, okay, what do you really want life to look like? How do you talk to your children? Like, so that they'll listen to you and you listen to them and you have a better, how about your relationship with your husband? How about your relationship with you? So then she started to meditate on a regular basis. She started to journal. She out of nowhere, so to speak, got this call from this guy who'd literally been wanting her to work for him for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. They, at the very end of our time together, they negotiated terms that work for her. She doesn't start there until October 1st, and right now, as we're recording, it's the middle of August. So she still has time. She has time to settle her kids into school. She's made decisions. I've helped her make decisions about her kids in school and virtual or private or ski team or all this stuff that she has questions about. So there's an example of somebody that is frazzled and not sure how to fit their work into their life and makes it the quote unquote hard decision, because so many people I hear have like the golden handcuffs. Like, oh, I've got to have this corporate job that's sucking the life out of me.
So then how do people make that decision?
How do they make it? They look at what's really real and important in their lives, and they make those hard decisions, and then they stand up for themselves. Because this woman was, as I said, kick ass, but yet she was kind of a pansy when it came down to like really, really standing up for what she wanted and why she wanted it, and really being okay with what's the worst that could happen.
So you're saying that people tend to, and I think that this is a very normal struggle, particularly for women, because we struggle with imposter syndrome much more than
Right.
men do. You're saying that it's very common that busy professional entrepreneurs, particularly women entrepreneurs, struggle to prioritize because they see everything as a priority and they see everything as deserving of their attention.
Yep.
They need help saying, actually, no, that can be delegated. That isn't as important. But they also struggle saying, I deserve to change this. Therefore, I will ask and I will be a badass about changing this. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's what you're hearing. You didn't hear the part about the entrepreneurs, but that is, since you know me, you know I do that mostly. I just wanted to tell you that story because you had asked about people that work for in jobs, and that's not really most of my people. Like, most of my people are in fact entrepreneurs and are in fact struggling with that very thing.
Right.
Like, at any given day, you wake up as an entrepreneur. Certainly you have customers. When you have customer meetings, that's easy. But especially at the beginning of the day is like, well, when do I start my day? Well, my neighbor wants me to walk her dog. Well, okay, maybe I should walk her dog. Or my mother really wants to talk to me. Like, I have a lot of people that, their parents are aging. Their parents like call them like all the time. So there's all this sort of life thing coming at them. What about their kids? They're trying to homeschool their kids. Like, stuff is happening. So boundaries are really important. I developed something called the productivity success cake, which I like to show, and this is really helpful.
Okay, so we've got a literal tiered cake with pieces in it, and those pieces are where you kind of define what are your action plans or your thought processes. Is that accurate?
For each, yeah, pretty much. So at the beginning of when I work with people, like, we look at every single piece of cake. So as you can see, the bottom is all about your health. So people might come in up here like going, oh my gosh, I procrastinate all the time. Are you kidding me? I'm sucked into my email or task management. My to-do list is too long. So it's the things they're saying. And that's cool. And we 100% work on their productivity. But what they totally miss, is the fact that, they don't spend quiet time. Meditation is one of those things. Oh, yeah, I don't have time. Oh, yeah, that's the end of that. That is the biggest game changer right there. Especially my people, they're multi-focused. A lot of them have ADHD, brain fog, like that, like diarrhea of the mouth, that kind of thing. Meditation fixes that. And so does meds too. But those. And then so this is all the health layer. So you got to make sure that bottom cake layer is good. Then you go to the next layer. The next layer is all about your environment. So physical space. So say you're trying to work out of your living room, but your partner, husband, wife, whoever it is, sees you there. Honey, where's the pickles? The dog comes in, whatever it is. Like the kids are like, ah! You're on a video call. You've seen that on YouTube, right? It's like you gotta have physical space that is different from other people. And if you can't, then create something, right? You got to create something. Very important.
So what I'm hearing is that because there are a lot of small entrepreneurs and self-employed people that will be watching this, is make your health a priority. Stop putting it back burner because you think you have to worry about all this other stuff.
Right.
And set yourself boundaries, right?
Bingo.
Those boundaries could not only just be space, working in the home, don't talk to me during certain parts of the meeting, but it might be getting rid of toxic people, right?
Right.
Not going to Aunt Susan's house because she's going to debate me on ridiculous whatever. So, okay, those are the steps that I'm hearing people need to look at more when they're kind of assessing how to do more of what they love.
Do more of what they love. Exactly. Right. So once you define what it is you love and why you love it, and that's work, home, life, whatever, there's no what you love is, because it's going to vary by you might want to play video games a lot more, so to speak,
do
and do beer video ratings, right, if you're too busy doing some stupid stuff from a toxic person, and thank you for allowing me to cheers during this thing, this is awesome. I think everybody's is going to be different. So this lady was in her piece, but that's just her. There's plenty of other people that have all different kinds of things.
I have, I call it basic bro time. And it's where I and a couple of my good friends that happen to be guys, we get together, we drink, we eat unhealthy food, and we just play video.
Awesome.
That's the thing, and that resets me. It recharges. So that's kind of what I'm hearing from you, is for everybody watching at home, when you're prioritizing these things, also schedule time for you to do those things that reset you and give you that peace because you love to do them.
Right. And that's absolutely true. And it's more than just making your work this big so you can have this much to do what you love. What about if your work was what you love?
I mean, I can
right?
say, but I don't know how many people can say that. So what do the viewers do? If there's people that watching that say, I feel like it's soul sucking, I'm not in love with what I do.
Yeah.
What do they need to think about next?
Oh my gosh. Well, what's your life worth?
Wow. That's a tough question.
I know. I don't mess around, Crystal. Everybody's got their story. Well, I got the big house and my kids are going to, private school, and, I really have to have her have ballet lessons, and, really? Oh, okay, cool. So what is that costing? Well, it's, blah, blah, blah. No. So let's talk about your health. Oh, well, I have diabetes. This is real. This is real talk here. People are walking around with high blood pressure, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, all kinds of stuff. When they take their life and start putting good food and drink into them, start moving, start meditating, Start taking supplements. Take your medicine if you need medicine, for God's sakes. Like, do the things you need to do to actually create yourself as a human being. What will happen is, like, the stuff on your body will melt away. You'll start going, wow, this job is awful. This job isn't worth the paper, money that I get every day. And what's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? You hear stories all the time about, there was one lady I interviewed, and she said, well, I left my job. I was a corporate HR person, but it was sucking the life out of me. And so luckily she was married, so at least she had another income. And they decided that, like, they did a worst case scenario. Well, okay, well, what if we lose the house? Well, her husband looked at her and said, well, if you're that miserable, we would sell the house if we couldn't afford to pay the mortgage, and we'd move someplace. We'd buy a trailer, we'd figure it out.
That's awesome support, because not
Right?
everybody is going to have that, but
Right.
but it may be that you need to ask for that kind of sacrifice. You may be in a position to ask your family, your partner, your family members, whomever's important in your life, my mental capacity just can't take this anymore.
Right.
Money is
Right.
great, but you can't buy more time. You can't buy happiness.
No, you can't. And mostly it usually comes down to a really bad health problem. Like, people, not even COVID related. I had a client. She's a New York City banker, but she was in New York City, like living in Brooklyn, working in the city. And she lost her sense of smell. And she would go into these really super dark places, because while she was great at her job and she made tons of money, she was able to hire a full-time nanny and so on and so forth. It really truly was, she goes, it was like they were taking bites of my flesh. So, so she had a lot of R&R to do. I had a software developer who went through, a male that went through lots of burnout. And so just to sort of reinflate him, that took a while. Do not get to burnout. You do not have to ask for what you need when you're dead on, like, when you're roadkill. Like, do it before you are roadkill. Another example would be, I nearly worked with a director of HR. And this was back when I was working in person. This is years ago. And we met at a networking meeting. I went to meet her at her office. We talked about the work, and she said, oh my gosh, yes, here, we'll start at Tuesday at 10 o'clock or whatever it was, right? So I showed up to her office, because that's when I was doing it in person. And I went to the front desk and I said, I'm looking for Jane Doe. I can't remember her name, just honestly. And she goes, oh, well, just a minute. So she went back. Somebody else came out and goes, well, we're sorry, Jane Doe doesn't work here anymore. And I was like, wait, what? And I have an appointment with her. I'm starting, oh, no, yeah, she's no longer working. Well, do you have any, no, we can't give you, it's private. We can't really. So I had her, like, LinkedIn, and I, messaged her, and she said, yeah, they kind of, like, let me go because I had, a nervous breakdown. And so don't go that long. Please don't go that long. Like, wait, like, you do not need to be at nervous breakdown level before you actually do something. Right?
The moral to the story is you are, regardless, it doesn't matter if you're male or female or an entrepreneur for somebody else, you are worthy of having things that you love.
Yeah.
You should be able to ask for them, and you should empower yourself to ask for them. And it's good timing, because we're right kind of butting up on the end of the time period here. So
great, because look, it's pouring rain. You can see, like, the rain. So it's like I'm underneath this little roof.
In closing, is there some kind of statement or a quote, or what, something empowering that these people need to look at? What?
Yeah.
And can you add here?
What can I add? Yeah, I would recommend that you just take a little time for yourself every day. And you take a little more time with yourself every week. And quiet time where you're with yourself and you're not busy and when you really and do exactly what you want, and do not worry about who thinks what, do not do that. And when you do that, what will happen is great ideas will come in, you will feel better, and you will be able to bake your productivity cake. And really, the productivity isn't about being more busy. It's about being busy doing exactly the stuff to support you in your work, in your life, whatever that means to you. And in the comments, we're gonna put a link to an ebook that I wrote, the Productivity Success Cake. So that way, anybody who wants to bake their own cake their way can do that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, we'll make sure that will actually be in a pinned comment, so you will always see it at the very top of the comment section. And I'll make sure that we have links to any and all goodies, including Carol's website, so that you guys can get to. So
Thank you.
thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody go out and do more of what you love. You heard
Darn right.
first on episode 16. Prioritize yourself. You are worth it. We are all worth it.
That's right.
Awesome episode. Just remember to subscribe to get videos like this and more. Once again, Carol, thank you so much for being on the show. And
Thank you.
y'all go out and do what you love. I'm serious. Or
That's
Carol
right.
and we'll kick your asses.
Woo! All right, thanks.
Thanks for being on the show, Carol.